first chapter is Heredity and Evolution. Heredity is the transfer of biological characters from one generation to another via genes. So this means that you have inherited genes from your parent, right? So this is your parent 1, this is parent 2, and this is a child. If you look at a cell of that child has various pair of chromosomes, right? So these are different pair of chromosomes. Say for example, this is chromosome 1, this is chromosome 2 pair, this is chromosome 3 pair, and like this you have total 23 pair of chromosome, right? So this pair, if you consider this pair of chromosome 1, so the one member of this pair has come from one parent, the another member of this pair has come from another parent. Now what this chromosome is made up of? So I'll draw a chromosome here. A chromosome consists of coiled DNA. DNA is highly packed inside the chromosome, right? If you open up this DNA, you will see that DNA consists of a helical structure. This is the open form of the DNA, right? So the fragment or the part or the segment of the DNA that codes for a protein, right? I repeat, the part of DNA, this whole DNA doesn't code for protein. I'm saying the part of DNA that codes for the protein is known as gene. So genes, they are present on chromosomes. Chromosomes are inherited from the parents, right? So a gene or the part of DNA that's code for protein is known as a gene. So this protein within a cell is known for producing the characters, and these characters are more or less similar to the parents, right? So this is what the definition of heredity says. It is the transfer of biological characters. How biological characters are transferred? They are transferred via genes, right? Next part is, who is the father of genetics? So Gregor John Mendel is the father of genetics, right? Then next concept is about the mutational theory in this paragraph. So mutational theory was given by scientist Hugo de Veras. What do you mean by mutation? If you look at the molecular structure of genes, so these are the two strands of the DNA, right? So this is the gene. You can say now this is the gene because this segment of DNA codes for some protein. If you look at the molecular structure of this gene, so it is made up of 4 bases: A, G, T and C. A stands for adenine, G stands for guanine, T stands for thymine, C stands for cytosine, right? So you can write it here: A, T, G, C, T, A, and so on, right? So opposite to A will be T, opposite to T will be A, opposite to G will be C, opposite to C will be G, opposite to T will again A and T. So by rule, A always binds with T and G always bind with C. So these two are the complementary bases. So this is the molecular structure of the gene. So this is the normal gene, right? If in case, if this G is replaced by some other nucleotide, say for example it is replaced by A, now the structure of gene is changed. So this change in the gene structure is known as mutation. So mutations, they were discovered by Hugo de Veras. Now next part is, who discovered the chromosomes? So chromosomes, they were discovered by Sutton and Bowry. Walter and Sutton, they discovered the chromosomes in the cell of the grasshoppers, right? So the next part is, who established or who discovered that DNA is the genetic material? What we inherited from our parent is the DNA. It is not a protein or it is not any other part of the cell, right? So who found it out? So these were the 3 scientists, Avery, McCarty and MacLeod. They proved that DNA is the genetic material. Then next is Jacob and Monod. So these were the 2 scientists who gave the concept of genetic code. They discovered genetic code. What is genetic code? We will see in the next concept, right? Fine. So in nutshell, this whole paragraph, it consists of definition of the heredity and the historical part, right? Who was the questions can be like, who was the father of genetics? What is the contribution of Mendel in genetics? So what Mendel did? He did experiments on pea plant. He did hybridizations. He crossed different varieties of the pea plant. So he was the first scientist who was working on the principle of crossbreeding, right? Another question can be about who discovered mutations. So he is Hugo de Veris. Who discovered chromosomes? They were Sutton and Boveri. Who established the DNA as the genetic material? So they were Avery, McCarty, MacLeod. And then who discovered genetic code? So genetic code was discovered by Jacob and Monod.